Hey everybody, who do we have out there right now? What? Ramona. I don't have to type, I can just talk. Amazing, so good. I love this. So I'll just give it a couple of minutes, see if anyone else is going to join us. Who else is out there? I'm just interested to know if it's PYC yogis or what's going on. We'll do a little flow and then we'll do some stuff in Backbends. See how much the dog tries to photobomb it this time. Yes, Laura, welcome. I already knew you were coming. That's great. I've been so resistant to social media for years, and then now like all I want is to know what's going on, right? Hey, Mom. Maybe don't try wheel with your knees, Mom. You could do bridge, though. There's a way to see who's watching. Love when everyone's typing comments. I think if you have, I didn't realize until more recently that you don't need to have like a YouTube channel or an account to be able to comment and stuff in the videos. It's like a Google sign in, right? So if you have a Gmail account or whatever, however you normally would watch YouTube, just be signed in with that account. The dog is extra bored today. Hey, come here. What's up? Come here. Oh, we're color coordinated today too. Look at that. It's great. Not intentional. Good. Nice. Yeah, I know. That's me. You don't have to worry about that. Don't get fixated on that. That's just me. You're okay. Good. What a goof. Well, don't lick the mic. Can you want to lie down? You can lie down right here. Come here. Come on. I'll leave it. Lie down. This is what he does. He chases his back leg when there's lots of shadows around. He's a goofball. You're okay, buddy. Just relax. Just relax. Those of you that know him know this is totally normal, and the ones that have maybe seen videos where he's been really chill, this is why I've been so surprised. Come on, relax. You're okay. Because there's lights here, so they make extra shadows. Yeah, you're all right. Just relax. Yeah, that's you. You're on camera. People can see you. This is my life with the crazy shadow chaser Peter Pan dog. He doesn't have a tail, so I think he has that like ghost limb syndrome, not to be funny at all. Like I really think when he gets excited, his invisible tail starts wagging and it makes him lose his mind. Okay, can you go to your bed? Yeah, no, just go to your bed. You're fine. Go and lie down. Go lie in your bed. I know. All these shadows today. Yes. He's pretty chill most of the time, but when I put on like 3 photography lights to make it actually bright enough in here to film videos, that makes him insane. You've been so good though, right? Just chilling. Okay, so we'll start actually. Let's get into child's pose. So what we're gonna do today, it's like a mini. I do like a 2-hour backbend workshop that I've done lots of times. Some of you out there like maybe know my backbend practice is I'm really flexible, I'm really bendy, and it took me a while to get there for sure. So really what this is about today is more getting over fear of backbends a lot of the time. Buddy, can you go to your bed for me? Go to your bed. Can you please go to your bed? Go on, go lie down. No, go to your bed. You're okay. Buddy, go lie down. Might have to put him in the mudroom today. We'll see. Give him another chance. Sorry. So this is the beauty of live streaming. So yeah, it was. It definitely took me getting over fear and being in a listening to your back. I always joke like it's not a joke, but I always say don't argue with your back. Right? If you today came here and you wanted to do a big wheel and your back says no whenever you go to do it, listen to your back. Right? So I'll go through a couple of quick stretches to do for your wrists, because that's a big thing for a lot of people to get into wheel is the strength in the wrists and the flexibility there. And then also we're going to warm up a little bit first. So we'll do a couple sun salutations just to get our body heated up a little bit. So you don't want to just go from a freezing cold body and no movement to trying to go into a wheel pose, right? So take child's pose to start and we'll go from there. You stay, please. Yeah, just chill out. You're too crazy. You're too crazy. Good boy, you stay. So start in child's pose. Settle back onto your heels and just start to breathe, right? Still starting with a connection. We're all connected here, everyone watching, anyone that's watching this later on when it's reposted, like all of that. So breathing together. In this first child's pose, just maybe get clear on what, and maybe you have the opposite story of, like, I can't do back bends. Back bends are too hard. I'm not flexible enough, right? And there's can be real things wrong with your body. Not wrong, I don't like that word. There can be things going on in your body that might limit your ability to do a big wheel pose or something like that, but it's just getting clear on what you can do. Yeah? Steps maybe to get you there one day instead of just assuming it's not possible. Press your hips deeper onto your heels. Wake up the ujjayi now. Inhale. Exhale through your nose. More audible breaths in and out. Up to tabletop on your hands and your knees, and then push back to downward facing dog. Hips back. It's like pedal out your knees, wiggle out your shoulders. How does your body feel today, right? Coming into the practice. Maybe you've been moving every day, maybe you haven't. How is your body landing in this moment? Where can you let go maybe of some tension, some resistance? Take a breath in. Ground down into the four corners of your hands and your feet, really intentional in the foundation of the pose. Right? In your down dog, in your wheel later on, really intentional with where your feet and your hands, what they're doing. Take a breath in. Empty out, bend your knees, look forward, step forward, halfway lift, fold. Sweep your arms up, extended mountain, reach, and fold. I'm aware that I'm going to get cut out of the frame, halfway lift. It'll be okay later. We're back bending, lower down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths in and out. Ground down, spread out your fingers. Draw back through the insides of your heels. Inhale. Soften the knees a little bit. Take it out of your low back and then really press the tailbone back. Core, right? Wake that up, belly in. Lift your heels, bend your knees, hop to the top of your mat. Flat back. Fold. Extended mountain, reach to the ceiling. Press your feet down. Start to go up a little bit. Go back, fold. Halfway lift. Chaturanga Dandasana. Lower down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Press down. Lift up onto your toes. Bend your knees. Move forward. Flat back. Fold. Extended mountain. Reach, lengthen the body. And fold forward. Hug into your legs. Halfway lift. Chaturanga Dandasana. Step or shoot back. Upward facing dog. Lift up your thighs. Downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Breath out. Lift up onto your toes. Bend your knees. Hop to the top of your mat. Flat back. Fold. Come into chair. Just hold here for a second. It's really to feel. You can bring your hands to your thighs. Do that actually. Okay? And just feeling some movement in your pelvis here. So it's easier to feel in chair than in wheel, but it gives the same kind of result. If you scoop the tailbone down a little bit, right? Like down, like your tail's going between your legs, it takes some of the work out of the low back, which is what we want whenever we're back bending sometimes. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. We never want any pinching in the low back. Belly in, yeah? Uddiyana Bandha, the belly button to the spine. Scoop it up to your ribs. Sit a little bit deeper in your seat. Take a big breath in. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Chaturanga Dandasana. Flow. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward, warrior one. Just one breath. Press your feet. Reach your fingers. Chaturanga Dandasana. Flow with your breath. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left side, warrior one. Press your feet down, reach your fingertips up. Chaturanga Dandasana. Move with your breath. Upward facing. Downward facing dog. Take 5 breaths here. Really fluid breaths. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. In. And out. Fuller breaths, yeah? Breathe. Press down. Your eyes to one spot. Onto your toes, bend your knees. Look between your hands. Hop there. Flat back. Fold. Do 2 fast sun salutation Bs. Chair. Fold. Lengthen. Chaturanga Dandasana. It's heating the body up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right side. Step your foot forward. Warrior 1. Reach up. Chaturanga Dandasana. Move. Upward. Downward. Left side. Step through. Lengthen the upper body. Chaturanga Dandasana. Breathe. Flow up. Downward facing dog. Right away, onto your toes. Bend your knees. Stay with it. One more. Hop. Flat back. Fold. Chair pose as deep as you can go. Scoop the tail and then fold. Hug into your legs. Lengthen. Chaturanga Dandasana. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward. Warrior 1. Find a back bend. Reach. Start to lengthen out of your waist. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward. Downward facing dog. Other side. Warrior 1. Press your feet. Reach your fingertips. Chaturanga Dandasana. Go to your bed, buddy. Upward dog. Downward facing dog. Good boy. And breathe. Come down to your knees. Actually, come onto your back. Let's do that. Do Supta Baddha Konasana for a second. Just slow your breath down for a second. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. A few more. Knees into your chest. Just make some little circles, yeah, like massaging out your low back on the floor. Go each direction. Big circles, little circles. Grab the backs of your knees. Come up to sit. Sit up tall. We'll take opposite now. So the tailbone back, yeah? Before I was saying like you're scooping your tail between your legs, do the opposite. You want your tail up behind you now. And then fold over your legs. Just kind of the counter stretch. Lengthen the back of your neck, so tuck the chin, crown of the head forward. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay, so we'll quickly do some wrist stretches, yeah? Just come up to a comfortable seated position. Just a couple things. So a big problem with people that people experience when they're trying to do wheel is wrist pain, right? And what often happens is people are dumping into the palm, right? Which I know is what I was doing at first too, for sure. So you're putting all of the weight into the palm of the hand and kind of forgetting that there's all of this rest of the surface area of your palm that can spread out that work. So getting into like the whole hand working in the pose, we'll do a stretch here. So take your right hand, left hand is going to be out in front of you like you're holding like a pizza plate or a pie in your hand, right? And then just kind of all across the fingers, push down and stretch out through the wrist, yeah? So you're stretching down. Don't do anything that hurts yourself, obviously. So kind of resisting that. Your fingers are pushing up a little bit and you're pushing down with the opposite hand to stretch out the wrist. Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay with your breath, right? Switch sides. So like you're holding a pizza in your right hand and then flatten across the 4 fingers. We'll get the thumb in a second. Really resisting. Push up like your wrist is pushing up, your fingers are pushing up, but you're resisting that with the left hand. Breathe in. Breathe out. Another big breath. if you just want to get to wheel, then like I'll give you a number down there where you can skip ahead later on in the live stream. Yeah, but we want to get the stretch. So now like you're just making like a high five. Grab the thumb. So right hand is grabbing the left thumb. Pull the left thumb down towards the left wrist. Yeah. Again, you're not doing any forcing anything. It shouldn't be painful at all, right? It's just a stretch, opening it up. So kind of like with a lobster claw, grabbing the wrist and the thumb and pulling down. Just a couple breaths there. Keep the hands active, yeah? So not like limp, lazy fingers. Activate the fingers. Get used to feeling them and using them, especially in wheel pose. It's so important. Switch sides. So high five and then make the claw, grab, pull down with the thumb. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again. Stretch the wrist, the thumb. Okay, just wiggle your fingers. Let's do this. Make two fists. So squeeze your hands into fists. Make circles. It doesn't matter which direction you make each fist. I'm not going to try. It's easier to be doing opposite if here's for me. Let's do a couple circles, big circles, full range of motion, then go the other direction with each hand. Okay, great. That's good. That should be perfect. So what we're going to do is we'll start with bridge. Okay, so if you've like, you're new to the practice, you found this video because you want to start playing with a backbend practice, like I'm going to break down bridge as the first thing, right? So I didn't want to skip right ahead to wheel because if you're not really doing bridge properly and the foundation of that pose isn't strong, then jumping ahead to a wheel or like, trying to lift your foot off the ground in wheel, like I'll show you in a second, that's really not the best progression, right? So you just want to get clear on where your body is. Again, don't argue with your back. If your back is like feeling tight today, pinchy, this is going to be posted. You can come back another day when you're feeling more flexible, but you want to be like, bridge is available to pretty much everyone, especially I'll give you quickly the option with a block, of course, right? You can do that. So my story is I've been doing the practice for about 6 years, just over. And when I first started, bridge was pretty uncomfortable for me. I felt tight in my back when I was doing it. I could kind of go halfway up into a wheel. It didn't feel good the next day when I did it, right? So it took me a while to get comfortable in doing the wheel pose. And it was after really doing, my back was feeling pretty exhausted one day. And I held a bridge for a long time with a block under there, kind of releasing some of the tension in my back. And it led to me doing my first, like I can hold wheel now for like over 5 minutes. And it took me a long time to get there, like 6 years later, I can do that, right? So the steps to get you there, we'll start with a bridge, a little bit less time on that, and then we'll move into a bit more time in wheel, building up the foundation of wheel to make it strong. And then eventually, if you're already strong near to the end, we'll get some of the fun kind of step up variations that you can do that maybe some of you have seen me do in class. And yeah, I'll put timestamps if you're watching this later. If you check in the description, there will be timestamps. If you're watching this later too, like subscribe to the channel, please do all that kind of stuff so that I can keep making content for you. We'll start on our backs in bridge. Okay, I'm just going to turn on so we see what time it is. So I'm not doing this forever. And you can bring your heels in towards your glutes. So you're going to bring your bent knees. Bent knees. Just where you can graze your heels with your fingertips. Okay, so this is the first kind of place you want to be. From here, I like to start if you really want to make sure that the upper body is not just lazy and hanging out, not doing anything. So I call it robot arms. Well, I don't call it that. Like people have said that, right? So press the triceps down and then lift up through the chest. So what you're doing here is you ground the triceps to create an uplift through the sternum, the center of the chest, and then your shoulder blades can kind of hug together. They come up off the ground. You can let the shoulders rest on the ground, or you can kind of keep that lift up too, right? So what you're going to do is bring up the hips. Make sure you can still check in with your heels, that they didn't come way out in front, right? This is going to be a little bit less. You want the joints stacked. It's going to make the work a little bit easier. And then from here, just lifting up through the hips. So the option for the supported bridge, again, this might be where you hang out and just watch what's going on, and that's perfect, right? So putting a block, the cork block's not ideal. Actually, you can put a towel on top of it. It's not as soft as one of the foam ones. Just resting the back on a block. My tailbone is just like a couple inches below where the block is. It's kind of right across the low back muscles. It should feel nice. It shouldn't feel like there's pinching or that it hurts. If it does, then try moving it up or down a little bit till you find a nice spot. And still you can ground through the triceps. Shoulders are still integrated. Feet are still grounding down, even in supported bridge, yeah? And then different steps, like if you're still new to wheel, you can actually start to build strength for wheel in your bridge, right? Things like, If you check out my strength class from a couple days ago, we do some different stuff in bridge. Like it can be lifting up the foot towards the ceiling and starting to like pulse up through the heel. So we don't have to do a bunch of this right now. That's not the point of this little mini workshop, but it's just stuff you can do at home right now, probably at home or in class, just to build strength, right? So again, like I'm grounding the robot arms, I'm pressing, pulsing up through the heel towards the ceiling, and stuff like this is building all the same muscles that are going to get you into wheel eventually, right? So it's about building strength and foundation in the pose, not just trying to jump there and then through classes is the chest as part of this. So we get that the feet are pressing down, that the hips are lifting up, leg muscles are pulling into bones. All of the lower body is good. Core is so important in all of these back bends, right? Your Uddiyana Bandha, those muscles of your core, it's like an airbag. They hug in and they support the low back muscles. They keep them stabilized in the back bends. And then the upper body, so still in bridge, grounding triceps and feeling your sternum. It's like it's going up and back towards the back of your mat, yeah? Press down, lift, your fullest expression, get your hips as high as they can go. You have, of course, option to interlace hands under your low back. Some people like to put the hands underneath the back to create more lift up through the hips, yeah? And then that's bridge. Great option. If you do a couple wheels and your back feels like it's done, maybe it's a bridge or it's a supported bridge for the rest of them, right, in a class. So for wheel, I spent a long time in wheel thinking that it wasn't something I could do comfortably. I could do it pretty early on in my practice, but not very well, and it hurt, and it was like I regretted it the next day, which is not the way you want your backbend practice to be. Starting out, hands by your ears, right? So your lower body's the same. Double check, you can kind of graze your heels with your fingertips. Your feet might need to be a little bit wider. Some people need their toes turned out a little bit. It really depends on your body, and I really want to really emphasize that. I'm flexible, right? And I can do wheel with a really big expression. Again, it took me time to get into that, be able to do that, but you just want to not be fighting with your own body and just trying to do something for the, for the picture or for the experience of like that you got into it, if it's going to be painful, right? Discomfort is different than pain, and you just want to get clear on that. So if your body is like pinching, if that's kind of that electric shooting pain when you do something, you stop, you rest, don't do that, right? Discomfort's different. If you're doing a big wheel strong and with proper alignment and great foundation, your back might hurt the next day. Just like if you lift weights and do bicep curls, your biceps hurt the next day, right? You're building strength in the muscles. And being aware when you're doing back bends, especially because you're anyone that's experienced back pain, it's not something you want to mess around with, right? So be careful, do what fits, the hands by the ears, right? And I joke in my classes, like, if you think you can't do wheel, like, it's not about just always doing bridge pose. This is the first step. Hands are by your ears, fingertips are facing your shoulders, and you just start to press, right? It's starting to press down into the hands. You can get into bridge, right? Start there with your hands by your ears, and it's just pushing the floor, right? I can feel my whole shoulder girdles working, my arms are working, my glutes, my legs, my core, and I'm not even lifting anything off the ground, right? It's isometric work. This is the great first step. And then after this, it's going into what we call half wheel, or I don't know if you have another name for it, but it's just really coming onto the crown of your head. So pushing just enough to get onto the fontanelle, the very top of your head, where you would be like in a headstand or anything like that. And it's just being right here now. So again, there's plenty of work happening. I'm pressing down into the four corners of my hands and feet. I'm pressing my calf muscles towards my shoulders, feeling that like big lift through the hips. Grounding the feet, the core, of course, always working Uddiyana Bandha. And then, like, I did this for weeks, right? This is what built the strength, and it was eventually then little push-ups. So if you're in half wheel, you can start to do little push-ups from half wheel, right? Where you just start to come up like an inch off the ground, hold it as long as you can, and come down. Inch off the ground, hold it, come down. Inch off the, oh, that's okay, that's enough, and you come down, right? And that's the practice for your wheel for a little while, right? But once you've started to do that and you build the strength, because it really does, it doesn't just require the mobility of your back. That's what I learned. I'm flexible, right? I have a yoga body or whatever you might say, like as far as my flexibility, my range of motion, but it took time to open that up and to build strength for the poses to be safe and in proper alignment, right? So you want to play with feeling strong in just that 1 inch off the ground before you start to push all the way up and then find out at the wrong time that it's too much for your back, right? Some of you, I'm gonna come up. I keep talking on my back. That was maybe weird. Sorry. Some of you are more than capable of going up in the wheel. So let's do that. If you're somebody that for your first time ever just got up partway into a half wheel, the rest of this maybe is not something that you're going to practice too thoroughly, right? But it can be something that you look for inspiration. So seeing something that you want to do in a yoga class or that a yoga teacher does, it can be inspiring or it can be disempowering, right? And I'm curious about how you can do it one day. What's the path that gets you there? Not needing to just like teleport to the goal of lifting your feet off the ground and wheel, but being in that journey of building strength and foundation in the pose of wheel, and then playing with different things you can do kind of to get playful in it, yeah? So let's set up for wheel pose. We will bring the hands by the ears, set the feet up close foot. Before you know it, you're starting to really press, and you're all the way up, right? Once you're up, it's less work than the push-ups. It honestly is, right? Being up in the pose. You can walk your feet in a little closer if that feels good. Not putting all the pressure in the wrists, right? Feel that. If you're up in wheel, just try to lift your fingers a little bit. It feels gross. Don't do it anymore. Push down every single knuckle. Press down the four corners and then get into your feet too. Inner ankles, draw back. Press the calf muscles towards the shoulders a little bit. Breathe in. Breathe out, right? If you feel strong in the wheel pose, you can go up, you can hold it, you can really feel little micro adjustments to make your body get more work happening in it. Then the next step is playing with lifting up arms and legs off the ground, right? So what I actually find, one of my secrets to holding wheel for so long is that partway through, I actually kind of have to almost. I've done it for quite a while without lifting my limbs up, but when you do that, that arm or that leg, the blood kind of recirculates, right? And it gives it renewed strength, right? So getting into that as you're up, longer holds in wheel. Yes, there can be tingling in the shoulders. A little bit of numbness sometimes can happen. But again, it's listening to your own body. There's a difference between doing those things that are pushing yourself to your limits, right? Numbness and tingling is not that bad as long as, we're not going to be there forever. When you come out, the blood rushes back. It's fresh oxygenated blood. Muscles are like, revitalized. So doing it safely, doing it powerfully, and making sure you feel strong in your foundation. Your core, your feet, your hands are all like so important in any variation of this back bend, right? Set up for wheel again. If you're still with me here, we'll go up. Coming over. I find it easier to come up onto my tips of my toes to lift my foot off the ground. So from here, I'm just gonna shift my balance a little bit. I'm finding now my balance in 3 limbs, getting light on this side as my left foot's gonna go up. And then from here, I would say just bring your knee into your chest. Start with that. It's a bit more stable from here, yeah? Keep lifting the hips up. And then from there, you can bend, or extend, I should say, the leg. Yeah? Pressing the toes up or pressing the heel up, whatever feels good. It's out of frame, but take a breath in. Come down with that foot. Stay on your tippy toes. You can bring your feet down. If you start to feel any weird, like cramping or anything in your feet, it might bring you down, or it might just be that you need to flatten your foot for a split second. I just had that, it went away. Come back up, bring up the foot, knee to chest, press up towards the ceiling. And again, I'm not letting the weight dump into my wrist. It tries to, right? Fingers are grounding down, every knuckle. Spread that energy out, lift your toes, lift your hips, bring your foot down, come all the way down. It's a little bit more work when I'm talking through the whole thing. Knees from side to side. And it's just good to let your back rest, right? Don't jump right into extended holds if there's something new. Let your body land in it. Okay, so the hand off the ground is more work than the leg off the ground, in my opinion, from my experience. We'll go back up, set up for wheel. And when you're taking your hand off the ground, again, before you ever take a limb off the ground, you wanna just get light on it, right? Like on the fingertips, spread that workout. And the other hand, if you're just pressing into your palm, this is gonna hurt your wrist, I promise you. You wanna spread down and ground the knuckles, ground the fingers. From here, arm can come up. It can do whatever variation you might wanna do with it. Same with the other side. Again, one side might be different than the other. Don't just assume and take your hand right off the ground. Get light on the fingertips where there's still stabilization possible. And then it can be elbow in, reach up, whatever you're doing, just to let that shoulder breathe for a second. Hand down. Of course, push-ups is an option, right? We can do that. Building lots of strength in the arms and shoulders. Come down. So I personally have not yet in my backbend practice, and maybe never will be able to stand up from wheel, okay? So there's lots of options. You might find other yogis out there on YouTube that are super mobile in their joints. I have a knee injury. I have osteoarthritis. Some of the shit that I do, I shouldn't be able to even do, right? But yoga's built strength around my joints and really helped with the mobility. What I would say is that if you're flexible, if you're open in your back, strong in your legs and hips, dropping back into a wheel pose from standing, or even coming up from wheel pose into a standing position, totally options for a lot of you out there, I'm sure, that are watching this. And you just want to be aware, again, don't argue with your back. Don't do anything that might put injury on your knees. That being said, I'm going to show you one more thing that looks like it's going to hurt my knees, but I feel comfortable doing it and it doesn't ever hurt my knees. It's coming from wheel up into camel pose and then dropping it back into wheel again. Okay, so I'll show you this as like one last little trick. I think I'm mostly on time for the rest of this. So we'll see what happens. Trying to stay in the 30-minute window that I promised you guys. Coming up into wheel. Again, press feet, press hands, strong core. Start to walk your feet in as close to your shoulders as you can. Don't do this, please, if wheel was your first time today. You don't want to hurt the back. So getting your feet as close to your hands as you can. You're going to start to shift the weight forward, knees down, up into camel pose. Yeah? From here in camel, you can go from camel, kaputasana, back into wheel. Last little trick here, okay? So from camel, going back, kaputasana, the hands come all the way back. Don't strain your throat. From here, one leg at a time can come out. It's not the most graceful in my practice, but it's still pretty cool. Yeah, lift yourself up. Stay here, one breath, and release. Okay, stay on your back here. Let's just do a quick thread the needle. Take your right ankle on your left knee. Draw the left knee into your chest. Left knee draws in, right knee presses out. Breathe in. Keep your feet active. Again, pull in, open the hip. Switch sides. Draw right knee in, push the left thigh out with the left elbow. So keeping that's like a pull in, push out. One more breath and release. Feet down to your mat. Just let your knees fall from side to side. Your arms fall open. Hug your knees into your chest, make some little circles. One of the best stretches I find for releasing the low back muscles is a supine twist, yeah? So in the regular journey into power, we normally do it with an extended leg. I'm okay, go to your bed, go to your bed. It's almost over, you're good, go to your bed. Or just lie down. Yeah, that's good, you can lie down right there. You're not the most restorative dog, lie down. Okay, so we'll try that. Supine twisting. Your knees over to one side. Yeah, keep your shoulders grounded. The more you pull your knees up towards your armpits on the side they're over to, will bring more kind of a release and more stretch in the low back. Shoulders on the mat. Oh, thank you. Toe kisses. That's great. Yeah. Up until today, I was thinking, what makes him so zen when I'm doing these yoga classes at home? And then, like, wheels are not a zen pose, right? Most of the time. Like, I can actually find myself pretty zoned out whenever I get into an extended version of the pose. Like, it's meditative for me. But one of our Baron's teachers, BKS Iyengar, he said that wheel was basically caffeine for the body, right? You're working legs, your glutes, core, arms, shoulders, your circulatory system's working, your respiratory system's working. So it fires you up. Switch your knees to the other side. If I didn't say that, I just did it. Stretch the low back. Bring your knees up towards your armpits a bit more. If you've ever done a late night yoga practice and done like 6 wheels and then you find yourself up at 1 o'clock in the morning and you can't understand why you're wired, it might have been your backbend practice. I've been there myself. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself one last big squeeze. Come into a shavasana just for like 5 breaths. Let your body land. Find neutral pelvis. Make sure your hips aren't sitting at a weird angle or your back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Again, inhale. Roll to one side. Come up gently. We'll finish up with one Om together. You're okay. Yeah, you're doing great. Thanks. Yeah, being really calm. I like that. Hands at your heart center. And close your eyes, and we'll finish with one Om. Breathe in. Ooh. Thumbs to your forehead center. Pause here. Just acknowledge yourself for something that you did during this little mini workshop that maybe surprised you about your body, something new that you learned, something where there was space created that wasn't there before. Just appreciation for your body and what it does for you in your yoga practice. Together we bow and we say, Namaste. Thanks, everybody. Awesome. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. So my plan is going to be for like the next little while, foreseeable future, while we're all kind of at home together, but apart. Yeah. I'm going to do classes from Monday to Friday, or sorry, Monday to Thursday. Friday, I'll do a workshop video. And on Sundays, I'm going to ongoing Sundays to do an at-home practice with people on Sunday mornings, live stream. Okay. This one I think is ready to go. Yes, amazing, amazing. Yeah, like and subscribe, and more content coming soon. I'm going to be bringing some stuff about gut health and just being aware of how your diet is affecting mood and helping us, try to be more equipped with the separation and the different way that we're living right now. So, and also brownies tomorrow. I'm gonna have to make my own brown rice flour because all the stores around me are out of it, and it's going to take a few days from Amazon, but I have a Vitamix. So, and subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, my other websites and social media and stuff are down below in the description too. And I'll also, like I said, put the different timestamps of like beginner and when the advanced poses stuff happen. Have an awesome day. Nice to see you all.